Hello, and everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday where Allie and I get to spend a little time talking politics, pretending things aren't blowing up around us because they totally are. How are you, my
All the time.
friend?
All the time. I'm great. Thank you. How are you? It's nice to see you today.
Oh my God, I am so tired. This weekend was so intense, and
I bet.
I've just been busy since we got back. So it's just been like 5 days of madness, and we got a lot accomplished, though. I mean, so it was the Democratic Party Plank and Platform Convention. And for those of you that have never been around politics before, the Plank and Platform is where the parties get together and say, hey, we have a series of planks. We're going to have meetings about those, figure out in those committees kind of what we want to see, and then bring it to the
But what
body
is a
as a whole.
plank? Yeah, what's a
So,
plank? What does that
a
mean?
plank is a topic. So, like transportation or health and human services or housing, the environment, those are all planks.
Like an
And
overall
together,
topic, not a minutia
no.
issue.
Planks are minutia. The
Okay.
platform is the overall. So you take all the planks and you build the platform. It's like
Okay.
building a deck in theory. Um, so we had that, and Saturday was the whole plank day where we went through all the various planks and kind of wrangled with, is this good? Is this not? What's the language? How can we make it better? Blah, blah, blah. And I am an efficiency writer. I'm not necessarily an efficiency speaker. You've heard me speak. It's forever. But when it comes to writing, all about efficiency. Like if you can say it in 5 words instead of 25 words, say it in five. So there
hmm
were lots of instances where me being me, because I can't let something like that go by, I'd run up to the mic and I'd have to introduce myself, Kevin Ham, candidate for PSC5. And then I'd spout out my little edit going, I think this is what you're asking. Instead of saying this long thing, can we say this short thing? And most of the time I got accepted, which was great. I had a great time. Our friend Carrie, who's not joining us tonight, was there. Even she had mentioned that she thought, we got at least something, because it is a big tent. We do have diversity in there, and the unions are, fighting for jobs, and Carrie is fighting against data centers. And honestly, nobody's really fighting for data centers, to be clear. They want some clean language on what we're talking about when it comes to hyperscale data centers and these massive projects. But what was really interesting is that we did get a 2-year moratorium, which was presented by the Yellowstone County Dems. But along with that, we got a whole bunch of very specific restrictions and rules that we would like to see in place for data centers and for anybody that's doing a large build. How it's going to cost us as electrical consumers, how it's going to cost us for water, what it's going to do to our environment, all of those things get covered. And because of that, and it also included like trying to get around some tax loopholes and change the law, because there was a law passed, and Carrie can tell you the exact number. It was brought by Katie Zolnikoff, and it created a whole new tax category for data centers. And
242. Yeah.
yeah, and it gave them a tax rate of 0.9%.
Down from
That is,
6%, correct?
I think it's like 7, but maybe 6.5, something like that. Regardless,
Yeah.
it is a massive discount. And it's a ridiculous thing to give to these companies that are going to be dealing with billions and billions of dollars. So, no, we don't need to be
Mhm.
doing that. So, it's just, there's some ludicrous things out there in the world that are plank and platform people. We put it together and we did that. So, Saturday we did that. We also marched in the Pride Parade, which was super fun because Pride was going on in
Mhm.
Missoula and Billings, and we were in Billings. And then Sunday was the body of the whole. So that's when everybody gets together. So we're not separated into various committees. We get together and we go through every single thing. And there were a lot of times when people just stood up and wanted to edit things. Oy. And it was long. And then we had to drive back. And then I've had, 3 days of work this week. It's been a thing. So how are you
Yeah,
doing, my
that's
friend?
crazy. I'm doing great. Nothing quite that exciting. Just kind of watching the news and watching how things are shaping up and recognizing, you know, the immeasurable damage daily that is being done on a national level.
Hmm.
All the fun stuff.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
All the fun stuff. Yeah.
Indeed,
So
indeed. I did see this weekend, however, what was it? Oh, was it yesterday actually, I think. Russell Cleveland announced that he is now the executive director of Building Small Business Coalition with the Transparent Election Initiative, which is also known as the Montana Plan, and I think that's really cool.
I
One of the
I think it
questions,
is too. I just don't understand
yeah.
how it works.
Oh, that's so great because that's exactly what I was getting ready to explain. I saw a comment from a gal on one of the posts, and she's like, no offense, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but what is this going to do? What does the nanny do? You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so, uh, what's important about this particular, and why I think that he is well suited to this also, uh, aspect is if we build a coalition of small businesses in support of this measure, it will end up going head to head with the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is already projected to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 70 million dollars to try and defeat this initiative because they want to be able to rely on dark money to get their way.
Hmm.
If you
And this
build a
is the
coalition
state
of
chamber or
small
national chamber?
state chamber,
Wow, that's a lot
is
of
what I
money for them.
understand. It could be,
Hmm.
yeah, well, dark money can come
Hmm.
from anywhere. And it probably will have a lot of outside. I would have to ask about those numbers. I just heard them from Russ Cleveland. I was just talking to him today about it. Um, so on the numbers, that could be national, it could be all kinds of things. But I would not put it past anyone because this has national implications to it. The importance of doing this is we're not going to be able to beat them with the money. We don't have that kind of money accessible to us to be able to message in that way, which means we're going to have to work together with each other. And we need people who can do that. And I think Russ Cleveland proved in his campaign that he is really good at building coalition. The folks that he had on his campaign and even the people who voted for him have all struck a similar note of wanting to do better, wanting to build community, and to work with, the concept of Montanans locking arms together and standing
Hmm.
up for ourselves and for everyone else. And so I think that will be great. It's also going to be a good idea because when we talk about this initiative, it is not, you and I have talked about this before, it is not a constitutional initiative, it is a citizens' initiative. So what that means is that when it passes, assuming that it does, it will become law, but it will also be able to be modified in any number of ways in the legislature. So the
Hmm.
legislature will be able to change language. They'll be able to delay enforcement. They'll be able to water it down. They'll be able to change it however they vote to change it, which is pretty likely given the governor and given the incentives of the Republican Party. They rely
Hmm.
heavily on dark money. So building a coalition of small businesses and organizations, it's honestly it's more than just small businesses, it's organizations as well, will put direct pressure on legislatures in their community from businesses that are in their community, in their voting districts, to leave it alone. And hopefully that'll buy us enough time to clear the single issue hurdle to make it a constitutional initiative. That's why it's not a constitutional initiative, was because Austin Knudsen earlier in the year struck it down from eligibility as a constitutional initiative because there is a rule that says when you're going to change the Montana state constitution, you can only do one issue at a time. And it was his
Correct.
contention that several things had to change to make this possible. And so, in order for that to be a constitutional initiative, we have to clear that hurdle, and that has not been cleared as of yet. So, this is a great start. It's a good step in the right direction for sure, but we're going to need a long-term coalition of people to get this across the finish line to be a constitutional initiative so that it cannot be messed with by the legislature.
Yeah, and for those people who don't understand why we have that in place, part of the reason that we do is because our old constitution got modified in multiple ways that involve broad swaths of things. And the way people would put it together is they put it together with eight things that somebody loves, one things that everybody hates, but that a rich person wants. And because it was 8 to 1 inside the thing, most people voted for it, and then we had this shitty thing happen. So
Mhm.
that's part of the way our framers in 1972 changed things,
Hmm. I
which is
like it,
a good thing.
honestly.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a
But
great idea.
in thinking about that, I'm just like, why wouldn't the constitutional initiative be that legal entities, as opposed to human beings, uh, have no rights unless expressly granted to them through legislation? End of discussion. And then they'd have to write the things that they're allowed to do. They are allowed to own property. They will have to pay taxes. Uh, they can be structured in certain ways. Uh, and they wouldn't be allowed to be in politics because they're not allowed to buy ads or be in politics. It's not expressly in there. That seems like a really easy solution. So
Hmm.
I'm a little bit confused as to why this has become such a big thing. Now, do I think that there's anything wrong with the transparent election initiative? No, because money needs to get out of politics. I mean, point blank, it needs to get out of politics.
Hmm.
And this needs to be got done on a national level. The amount of money that goes into spending in politics is insane on
And
levels
only
that,
getting worse every cycle.
right?
Absolutely
It's
just exploding every cycle.
it's just terrible. And I want, more people to know what's going on and more people to understand that it doesn't have to be this way.
Hmm.
It does not have to be this way. So that's
Hmm.
interesting. I think that's great. I mean, Russell did have a lot of good energy behind him. He was at the Playing Platform this weekend. So was his wife. They're great people.
Yeah,
And it's
I'm
nice
a
to
huge
see.
fan.
This is the one thing that I always it drives me nuts because, and I posted this on my Facebook. I know you saw it. It was the whole Montana Democrats. We need new faces. Also Montana Democrats. I don't know them. They're fake. It's like, but
We
and
need
Russell
new
did come
faces. We don't want to get to know anybody new.
right.
Yeah.
We need to not like that. Uh,
Yeah.
we have
Yeah. That's not how I
uh,
would do it.
exactly. But Russell jumped into the race as an unknown. I mean, he really was unknown.
Hmm.
But he was out there. He went across the district. He did a good job showing up. He talked about all the issues. He was on social media. He was at events. He was at parades. He met with as many people as he could, which is what you have to do. And there are lots of people that have done that, come from nowhere, done a campaign. But then as their campaign ends, they don't do anything. They don't show up to convention. They don't support other
Hmm.
Dems. They don't step into some sort of leadership role. They aren't involved in an ongoing way. And Russell is very much involved in an ongoing way, which I think is fantastic. And
Hmm.
I want the other candidates to be too. I want Matt
Hmm.
Raines to continue to be involved. I want Ryan Bussey to continue to be involved. Sam Lux is also, excuse me, continuing to be involved. In fact, he's helping Brian Miller on this campaign,
Yeah.
which is kind of unheard of.
I
Um,
love it. I think it's fantastic.
Me too. It is one of those things where it's like, yeah, they have a couple of differences and they still don't agree 100% of the time. Um,
Mhm.
they're doing really cool things. And
Mhm.
I think it makes both of them better. And it makes
Mhm.
Brian's campaign so much stronger for him to go, hey, I don't know this. Let me talk to this guy who ran against me. And everybody thinks I should hate Sam. What's going on? And Sam tells him,
Mhm.
and they're like, okay, great. And they move forward. I think that's
Mhm.
fantastic. So I'm really happy that Russell is doing this because I think it's one of those things where it's like this is a big problem. There's no getting around that dark money is a big problem. There's no getting around that money in politics is a big problem. I honestly think the political races should be publicly funded, publicly controlled. Conversations about them should be had in such a way that every candidate has to face their opponents publicly in a way that is not only accessible to the public at large, but is also accessible over time so people can refer back to it. Like, we should all have debates. Like, I'd love to have a
Mhm.
debate against Bukacek. I'd love to.
Mhm.
I don't want to have a forum because if you're going to ask me questions, I can give you great answers and she'll just talk. I would like to have a debate. I would like to challenge some of the things that she says
Mhm.
because I think she's crazy.
Well, it
And
goes back to the conversation we had last week about confrontation, right? And
mhm.
how in for as uncomfortable as confrontation can be, there is a place for it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was talking about it today with some folks, and I thought to myself, I was like, I think it's important that we pressure test our candidates to a degree because respectability politics is off the table at the moment. Like it just is not going to work. Republicans don't play like that.
Maybe not to the degree that Carrie did against Alana.
That
Alana.
was the context. I
That was a
love it.
little harsh.
I love it. Well, here's the thing about Carrie, right? So what I think sometimes people miss is Carrie's passion is what gets things done. Carrie's passion and her focus, if you were to put it in like a football metaphor, she is the linebacker who's moving the chains. And you need that, and we need that right now. Does it get a little difficult at times and contentious? Yeah. And should there be some moderation around that? Perhaps. But I think that a lot of people forget that her passion is how we see real results. And this data center issue would not be anything without her at this point, right? There are a lot of organizations who have been speaking out against it. This is true. There are a lot of people who are not in favor, but she has played an integral role in bringing attention to the data center issue, and I appreciate her for that. And so what, some may look at and think that they do not appreciate, I think it's important to remember that her dedication is on point and the kind of passion that we need behind these issues, because if we don't have that, we will get steamrolled by the money. The tech bros will absolutely steamroll us if we don't have that kind of fighting spirit.
Well, I don't disagree about the fighting spirit. I just worry about sometimes she makes enemies of friends when she doesn't need to. And part of that
Fair.
is I have friends that are like this all over the place. There are friends where the world is very black and white, and then there are
Mhm.
friends where the world is shades of gray. And I'm one of those people where the world is every color of the rainbow, and some of it's glittery, and it's fine. There's lots of different places to be. But my friends that are very black and white about things, they're the ones that when I get to talk about an issue and I go, okay, I know where you stand. Here are my thoughts. Give me your arguments because they will have data points, data points, data points, data points, data points. And I can go, okay. And then I can challenge them back. And sometimes I can pull them just enough away from black and white so they're in a little bit of gray. Where, I go, okay, so there is some wiggle room here. There is some stuff that's going on. When it's
Mhm.
100% just black and white and you're going to call your friends enemies, I think you do yourself a disservice. Like, we have to have passion, but we also have to have compassion. Like, they
There's
go
a
together.
there's a balance to be struck for sure.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
then there's the other side of it too. It's always so funny to me when I'm the one who's like, well, we should probably be a little bit more cautious and careful because I'm such a bombastic prick. Like, if you come from the queer community, I'm meaner than Carrie will ever be about data centers. Like, don't do it. I can tell you right now, it does not end well for you. And I'm not only well versed, I am 1,000% sassy and mean. Like, I will make you regret everything.
Yeah, I would love to see. I love seeing passion like that. That gives
Mhm.
me hope as somebody who's not a party affiliated. It really, really speaks to me. I know, and I don't think I'm the only one. The question is, how do we get those passions on the same page together so that they're not working against each other, but that they're working with each other? Because I'm telling you right now, you take that passion and you move them together and they're working together, that's an unbeatable team. That's an
Right.
unbeatable team. There's no amount of money in this world that can beat that team.
Well,
So,
and I
how
think
do
I
we
think
do that?
that's what happened. That's what happened this last weekend. That's what Plank and Platform is for, because we do have extreme wings of the party. We have the unions that are very much into if these jobs come here, they need to be union jobs. 100%, thousand
Mhm,
percent behind them.
mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
and Carrie's response is they shouldn't come here because they're dangerous. They're going to destroy the environment. They're not regulated well. Blah blah blah. Again, not wrong. And the two of them end up looking like they're fighting when they're really not. They're on the same side. And what happens with the Plank platform, the way it came out on data centers, neither side is particularly happy. Both sides can work with it. And because both sides can work with it, they both have the ability to look at the other side. Like, if the unions are saying, well, we want these union jobs, we need to make sure it's regulated correctly, we have all this stuff, and somebody goes, oh, we don't want to do that, the unions go, great, let me introduce you to my friend Carrie, who's going to cut your balls off. Okay. And Carrie goes, shink, let me have them. And that means that at the end of the day, we are going to have those regulations. We are going to have those tools because carry becomes the weapon that the unions use to keep everything else in line, to keep the environment safe, to make sure the jobs are sound, to make sure OSHA is followed, to do all the things that we need. And so, and it keeps us in the conversation. I was talking to one of the union guys this week, and we were talking about, you know, being a part of the conversation is key. And while Carrie would disagree, she's like, no, we just shouldn't have them. But if we say that and that's the stance that we're on, nobody's going to come and talk to us because they know what our answer is. Our answer is no.
Mhm.
Versus if we say, you can do it in a very restricted way and we're going to work out all the details on it, they're going to come talk to us because they'd like to get it done. We have all the power in that conversation. If they're not talking to us, if they just know our answer is no, they'll go to the Republicans, they'll get enough Republicans elected, and then we're just stuck with whatever bullshit they put together.
I
We
mean,
need
they
to be
kind
in
of
the
do anyway.
conversation.
If we're being realistic, like the unions generally vote Republican anyway.
No, they really don't. The unions vote union. And here's the thing, if the Democrats stop saying no to the unions 100% of the time, the unions will be our friends 100% of the time. Like the
Yeah,
only
well,
time
Lonnie
I've dealt
Bakehead,
with union
yeah.
members that have said, "Oh, I can't vote for a Democrat," when I ask them why, it's generally a member of the mining union, you know, so a very strong labor union, and it's
Mhm.
because they're being told that their mine is going to shut down. It's like, okay, well, you're working in a mine now. Who told you it was going to shut down? Oh, I heard that from Democrats. I said, did you hear that from Democrats, or did Republicans say Democrats said that? And you make
Mhm.
them think about it for a minute, and they're like, oh, I guess that's true. I'm like, we're not trying to shut down labor. We're trying to make sure you're paid well and that your health is taken care of. Because if you're in a fucking tunnel and all of a sudden there's asbestos or other carcinogens and you're exposed to them, the Republicans aren't going to stand by you. In fact, they're trying to close your
Yeah,
hospital
we don't want
anyway.
another Libby where we have to get Max Baucus to basically give universal health care to one town in the United States, right?
Right.
We don't want to have another tragedy like that. And I think that's a really good point. I also think Alani Bakehead, really made a great point about that in terms of her recognizing that as a national senator, it is her job to provide
Mm-hmm.
opportunities for the unions, right? And for good
100% for
labor
everybody.
that don't necessarily have to include data centers. Data centers are not the only good paying jobs in the world, right?
Right?
They're just what's in front of us right now. And so at some point, there I think there could be successful messaging around the idea of, okay, listen, we don't want data centers here because we are seeing what they do. We are seeing how this is shaking out around the country, and it is not good in
Mm-hmm.
multiple communities all over the country. Why don't we work to find a better source or a better industry that can invest in Montana that is not going to poison our water, that is not
Mm-hmm.
going to spike our energy rates, that is not going to leave a deafening ring in our ears?
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that sort of leadership needs to come from the House, the Senate, the governor's office, all of that. And that requires people to actually vote for people who want to lead. You know, one of the things that drives me nuts about people that is, especially for Republicans, they're like, well, you know, the government just doesn't work. It's like, yeah, because you, a Republican, keep saying it doesn't work. And then you get elected into office and you actually can break it so it won't work. Self
Well,
fulfilling prophecy
yeah,
there,
it's so
fucking.
interesting because that's the thing. That's exactly it, right? Is that they have spent so much time breaking it, and so
Hmm.
now it is struggling. There are various aspects that are struggling. I saw somebody talk about the USPS, and I'm like, listen, Congress and Donald Trump broke the USPS, and they are continuing to do so because they want to privatize it. They want to privatize all of those things so that they
Hmm.
can capitalize on it. So it's not that the USPS hasn't ever worked good. It's not that the USPS isn't capable. It's that it has been deliberately scuttled.
Sabotaged. Yeah.
Yeah, sabotaged on purpose because they want, the previous Postmaster General Louis DeJoy had massive shares in XPO. That's a logistics company. You're telling
Hmm.
me that a logistics carrier wouldn't love to take on the USPS and take on
Hmm.
their workload? The current guy, what's his name? Starts with an S.
Douchebag Magoo.
Steyer, I think his name is, or something like that. This guy, it has massive shares in FedEx. Total conflict of interest. And so, just as Congress rectified the issue of having to front load pensions 75 years in advance, which is what made the post office struggle in the first place. Now
Hmm.
we have these postmaster generals who have absolutely just ruined. They're trying to. Louis DeJoy tried to do a hub and spoke model so that he didn't want to go. He didn't want to take the mail to places. He wanted rural areas to have to come to hubs to get their own mail.
Yeah,
And
which no.
um, yeah, I know this because I used to work for the USPS. I used to drive for a contracting company that hauled the mail. And Louis DeJoy took that 60-year company and put them out of business in a matter of a year because he was trying to offload a bunch of garbage. It whole drama on that.
Right.
That's another episode. But yeah, exactly what you're saying is that there are lots of programs that this government not only has done, but even with sabotage is still doing well. So security is a great example. It is one
Hmm.
of our most successful programs. It has never missed a payment in how many years? How many decades?
90,
Yeah.
90 years.
It is an excellent program that works very well. It is coming up on being insolvent because
Mm.
Republicans. Go figure. We have to fix it and we
Wait a minute.
will.
Why is their theme song like an afternoon cartoon from the 80s? That's what I want to know.
Oh, you don't even know. When people call me a Republican, I'm like, I'm not a fucking Republican. I'm just saying.
Ah,
It's like instantaneous at this point.
that's hysterical.
Ugh.
Ah, so much fun.
It's like I feel like I need to clean my mouth out after saying it. To be honest,
Nom,
like
nom,
they
nom,
have
nom,
just gone
nom.
so
Mm.
far away from whatever I had thought they were. I guess maybe, and that's probably was the biggest problem for me
Yeah.
anyway. Was what I thought they were was not what they are.
What I think is interesting about it is there are so many people who I've known throughout my life that are Republicans, and their definition of Republican was they don't want change happening really fast. They weren't particularly against the change; they just want it thought out. They want to make sure that any tax implications from it are well thought out, and they hit any individual, especially lower income people, very lightly, if at all. And that's a Republican. That's most of them that I know. My mom is like
That's
that.
the
My dad's mostly
conserve
like
of
that.
conservative. Yeah. Hmm.
Exactly. They if there's going to be a change, they want it to be small. And then we
Hmm.
end up with these fundamentalists who claim to be conservatives and they want to change everything. You have to be Christian, you have to be straight, you have to be white. They'd like you to be male, and if you happen to be female, they don't like you, but get in the kitchen and make a baby. Um
Guess who you can thank for that?
mm,
Three
Ronald
guesses.
Ronald Reagan.
What? Not that
Mhm.
guy. Little
God,
Ronnie G.
I hope he's spinning in his grave.
That guy.
Ugh, terrible.
Anyway.
Um,
Yeah. That
I
guy.
mean, there's so much that goes back to his election, but basically, the funny part is we can blame a lot of Ronald Reagan on a gay man, and that would be Roy Cohn. Mm. And
There.
he was involved in McCarthyism. He was involved in a bunch of the anti-AIDS research, even though he ended up dying of AIDS. And
Yeah.
he was a Republican, and he was just a terrible human being. And he was an advisor to Donald Trump and an advisor to a bunch of terrible people. Just an absolutely awful human being, and that's why I think coming out of the closet is so important. Because when you're closeted, you become hateful, and when you become hateful and you're
Mhm.
creative,
Well,
things
and
can
it's the
go
stigma,
wrong.
right? It goes back to the idea that the stigma is the problem. We have
Hmm.
stigmatized so many things that it not only traumatizes people on a very deep level, but when you take that trauma and you don't address it, it festers into detrimental behaviors that play out on other people in imperatively it must happen inherently. It just happens, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
on a macro level, on micro level of just your family and the people in your immediate vicinity, or it's on a macro level of the entire country or the entire world in this case.
Hmm.
This is what untended trauma will do.
Yeah, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
there was
so
something else you wanted to talk about.
so we were talking about Plinken platform, and we covered Russ Cleveland joining the executive, being the executive director for Small Business Coalition.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Oh
sound
no,
like the right title, but whatever. That's essentially the
but yeah,
job.
because the reason it doesn't sound like the right title is because the whole point is to get corporate money out of politics.
I
It's like,
know, right? I'm
well,
like,
we're just a small corporation. We only have $1 billion.
how is this a
So can we
corporation? I
join
don't
you?
understand. Yeah, all right. I'm like, okay. Fire with
But
fire, I guess. I don't know.
well,
I
I
don't know.
think that's what it is get the small businesses together so that because remember there's different levels of the chamber. Like we have the Helena Chamber of Commerce, there's the Missoula Chamber of Commerce, whatever.
Mhm.
But getting the small businesses that are based in Helena that are members of the chamber here to go, you need to be on our side. We're part of this. You need to step it up with us. And kind of blunts a little bit of the state chamber's ability to do some of that stuff. Because when the locals are like, no, the state kind of gets pulled back. So it is
Yeah.
undercutting them a little bit. And part of that is
Yeah.
it's smart to do it. But at the end of the day, who wants corporations in politics? No one. What they
Well,
really
yeah.
want is you have a bunch of people with a bunch of money and they want to spend it and not have anybody know they did it. If we
Mhm.
just said, you know what, money can only come from individuals, but you have to be a US citizen. You have to be able to vote to spend in politics, even if you're talking about an issue, don't care.
Yeah.
And two, your name has to be prominently on it from the get go. You can't hide behind anything else. You can't create a PAC. You just spend your money. Like you can hire other people to
Yeah.
be part of it. This money comes from this asshole.
Right. And I think
I think that
I
would
think
eliminate a
that
lot of problems right off the bat too.
yeah, and I think that we need to create a separate two-person panel in which they have to run it through us and we get to add something on the end. For example, Jason Carroll, asshole extraordinaire, must appear on every advertisement of his, but we get to pick it, you and
This
me.
particular advertisement was paid for with the butt lint from Jason Carroll because that's how much money he has.
Add it up. It would be fun. I'm just saying. What Montanan would not laugh at that?
Right?
How could
Oh,
we not have so much fun with that?
speaking of laughing at things, I have a great idea. I'm gonna say this. Hopefully we'll have something to show in the next couple weeks, but remind me to tell you my great idea for taking on the independents and that whole brouhaha.
Holy
And we'll talk
smokes.
about it
You
afterwards.
know you're
It
asking the
is.
wrong person, right? Perimenopause, I have no short-term memory left. Like, what?
I'm gonna
I'll
write it
try.
down.
I'll give it a whirl, but here, let me write it on the
Ah,
whiteboard. We're gonna put it on
right.
the
I just put
whiteboard.
it in
I
a
have my
text message
whiteboard
to you.
ready.
Oh, excellent.
Ask Evan.
Have you set up your computer yet?
No, I'm almost there.
So what you're telling me
This
is I have to
weekend, put
come
the
over to
table
Missoula and
together and
set up
do.
your computer.
No, you don't. I just have to set up my desk, which just came in this week, and I have
Nice.
to yeah, and once I set that up and then I can rearrange things, like time to get out of stressy depressy mode and just get busy and start doing things. So this weekend, as a matter of fact, as confirmation, I have a body double coming over. She's gonna body double for me to make sure that I get it done. So it will get
I
done this
love
weekend.
I love that trick and I love that it exists and I hate that I need it.
I
There's so
kind
many
of love
times where
that
I'm
I
like,
need it though,
I
because
have to
I
get
like
this
visiting
done.
with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, I know.
Oh,
I would love to be able to just do things. Like just,
right?
I need to do this thing and then just get up and go do the thing. Like hello ADHD, you know?
Hmm.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's how it is. Anyhow, so one of the things I wanted to talk about this week was the Olmstead memo that came out of the DOJ. So
Mm.
for those who may not
You're gonna have
know,
to
there
fill me in
is
on this because I got nothing.
yeah, so the Olmstead decision was essentially a Supreme Court decision. I don't remember it was 27 years ago. So what is that? Like late 90s, early
1999.
2000s? Yeah, there you
It's
go. Math.
26. So if you take away
Sure.
27, -1,
Oh,
which is 1999.
okay. Anyway, like I said, so the Olmstead decision was a Supreme Court decision in which the Supreme Court determined that you cannot discriminate against folks with disabilities and remand them into involuntary institutionalization if they can receive the same care in community-based services. Essentially, the point of the case, there were a couple of ladies out of, I think it was Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't remember the other one. And they were suing because all of their medical professionals and everyone had agreed that they were ready to be released. They could be released from the institutions, but the institutions just simply would not release them.
Why?
And great question, right? Money, as always.
Okay.
More bodies equals more
Fair.
money. Yeah. And so uh the decision came down and it found that pursuant to Section 504 of the, I think it's the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the ADA of 1990, 1901, somewhere in there, they are
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to discriminate. However, the DOJ, our lovely, lovely DOJ of sort, Todd Blanche, love that guy. Anyway, they came out with a memo this last week that said that basically it's unenforceable. Olmstead decision is unenforceable because while you cannot discriminate against disabled people if they can receive those services in community, the state is not compelled to provide those services in community. So essentially, this opens up a Pandora's box of sorts, in that the DOJ has now decided to turn a blind eye to enforcement on the Olmstead decision. Part of the reason they're doing that is because in their dismantling of the Department of Education, they are moving special education oversight into health and human resources,
Mm-hmm.
which is not great in and of itself. It just remedicalizes the education of disabled people instead of educating disabled people. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not overly versed on that particular section of it, but there is a Pandora's box that is to be considered, because now that they have acknowledged that the states are not compelled to provide in-community services, that potentially jeopardizes in-community services that rely on federal funding. For example, one of the important examples, like here in Missoula, a great example is the paratransit system that we have.
Okay.
We have a zero fare paratransit system for our elderly and disabled folks, where they can schedule rides to and from wherever they want to go within the range of the paratransit system, and get to their doctor's appointments, get to the grocery store, get to the movie, get to the places that they want to go without having to invest in an ADA accessible van, which are exceptionally expensive, without having to pay Uber fees. It's important to remember that most of these people are on fixed incomes. And
Mm-hmm.
it also is important because the memo itself even spells out that the Olmstead decision does not delineate mental illness from regular disability. It's all
Okay.
lumped in disability. So you could have people that don't have cognitive disabilities that are now forcibly institutionalized and have no way of being out, getting out, if there are no community services available to them. And so how far they'll take that, nobody knows. I think personally that this is a targeted attack at the unhoused community.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be used to incarcerate and institutionalize the unhoused community without
Oh, hold
any
on.
recourse.
This is my shocked face.
Yeah, yeah. And so, to the extent that they will take this is yet to be seen, but it's important because oftentimes what we don't realize is that disability is not what we think it is, right? Disability is super subjective, and it really only counts who's in power when you're
Mm.
talking about defining who is disabled and who is not, who is fit to be in public and who is not. There is a very narrow definite, or a very broad, I'm sorry, definition of disability. And so part of that Pandora's box is now they could pull a move similar to what they've pulled with those folks down in, I think it was Texas, the protesters down in Texas, labeling them terrorists, and now they're carrying, ungodly sentences of like 50 years or whatever between the six or so of them. And they can start doing that now with anybody. They can declare you disabled and unfit to be in society, and the DOJ is not gonna do anything about it. They're not gonna prosecute anybody who um, crosses that line.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak, pretty bleak.
No, and the whole, getting rid of Section 504 means that they're getting rid of a bunch of. This is another part of it. I do know with schools, they're trying to get rid of treatment plans and education plans that help people that have uh, disabilities or just learn differently. And are part of a. I hate the term differently abled, but they actually are. There's a lot of people with ADHD or ADHD that
Mhm.
need some special facilities or
Accommodations, yeah.
accommodations. That's the word I'm looking
Mhm.
for them to be able to learn, and that's not a bad thing. Like one of the things that as we get more and more scientifically advanced in this country, we get more and more Luddites that are just unwilling to understand that the scientific advances do not make you a bad person because you had thoughts that no longer align with where science takes us. Like, get it together.
Mhm.
When I was a
Mhm.
kid, queers were the enemy, and like now, queers are the decorators. That's what we do, and it's
Mhm.
all of us because I have never met a trans person who couldn't completely redecorate your life. They did their own, and they're amazing at it.
Oh, I love
But
my trans community. I love them so
right,
much. They are
and
my
they're so good.
favorites. I love
I,
all
I,
of the LGBTQIA plus, but the T is my favorite. I'm just saying.
right. Let's come back to that discussion in a minute. Not because there's anything bad there, but I want to talk about the alphabet soup versus the umbrella terms. But it sounds like I just really quick did a Google search while you were talking just to see what's going on. Pretty much everybody thinks this memo is bullshit. And it's pissed a lot of people off. And it does. It looks like it's a chance to just take anybody who they call mentally unwell and lock them away, and without due process is what it looks like they're trying to do. So one of the things they're like, oh, Stephen Miller is behind this. Yeah, he probably is. He doesn't think anybody should have rights. He's a piece of shit.
Mhm.
Point blank. Terrible human
Mhm.
being.
Mhm.
Also, I have a mosquito bite on my leg. I don't know how. It's like it's
Yikes.
barely June. It's
Well,
just so bad. Anyway,
yeah. No fun.
yeah. I think this is once again. Oh, look, let me sum this up for you, Allie. It is once again a terrible idea by the Trump administration.
What? They never have those. I don't know what
I
you
know
mean.
they're so good for the economy. Bomb Iran. Let's just see if gas can cost more than gold.
Listen, gas is now $3.99 a gallon, I'll have you know.
No, where?
Here in
At
Missoula.
Costco. Where? What? Hold
Yeah.
on.
I don't know, it might have changed today, but yesterday it was $3.99 a gallon. So we're not $4 a gallon anymore. I'm just saying. We may not be
Okay.
the 2.79 it was before the Trump administration. We're certainly not $4 a gallon anymore.
Da-da-da. We were when I just bought gas last week for my mom's car. It was over $5. So I want to know.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, it was like 4.69 was the highest that I saw it get here in Missoula.
Hmm,
Just a couple
really,
weeks ago.
current gas prices, Helena MT, 385 to 450 a gallon.
Yeah.
Oh well, to be fair, I do have relatively new cars that are the still gas engines. Like it was my mom's cross truck. I took it to get it the tires rotated and the oil changed and washed, and then I filled the tank. And it was
Nice.
$75 to fill the tank. And when it was my car, when it was brand new in 2018, it was $40 to fill the tank. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Gas is still out of whack.
Yeah.
Gas is super expensive. Groceries are super expensive. Everybody's feeling the pinch right now. It is not a lot of fun. Not a
Well,
lot of
inflation
fun.
went back up to 4.2% and climbing.
Except
Uh,
and didn't Uncle Trumpy say that he was gonna bring inflation down on day one and that we could count on it? We could mark the calendar, and if he didn't do it, we could throw rocks at him. Aha!
sure.
Time to get the
Uh-huh.
rocks.
He
I
says
just want to
so many
dip him in the.
things.
I just want to dip him in the reflecting pool and make him drink. Like,
I'm
well,
just saying the
it's
greens
your
might be
water, bud.
helpful. I'm sorry, but you could use a vegetable or two. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Cyanoalgae seems like a bad idea for anybody.
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not the scientist here. I'm just the one who's saying, take a swim, Grandpa. Why don't you take a lap there?
Take a lap. Go for a run and see how that works out.
Oh,
Oh God.
yeah. I don't
There
know. I
was.
just it's just, it's to be expected. I know a lot of this is like shock and awe, and they do this on purpose because they want people to be upset and they want to put people in their um they want to shock the nervous system is what it is. The sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system.
Hmm.
Anyway, so they want to shock us and they want to keep us on our toes, and they, the whole Steve Bannon shock and awe campaign, and it's not really working as well anymore because people are just tired. People are
Right.
just
And
fed up. They're sick of it.
but they're also angry, which keeps them sick of it. They're not responding to it, and they tend to be going the other direction. They tend to be doing that. That's cute. It's time for you to take a dirt nap, baby.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The number of videos that I see, has it happened yet? It's like your series. I wish you would still do your
mhm.
series. It's funny,
Uh,
but I'm like, yeah, we're all just like it. We haven't heard from him in 7 days. It's
right.
like
Well,
what we're all
speaking of
doing right
people
now
we
with Mitch
haven't
McConnell.
exactly people we haven't heard of in
Yeah.
7 days, the turtle seems
Yeah.
to be stuck in a reboot mode.
Well, it's crazy, yeah, because like we've got Mitch McConnell now, who we haven't seen in forever, who a lot of people are speculating is probably dead or at least in a coma. We've got the
Hmm.
guy in New Jersey who hasn't been seen
Kane,
for months, who has
yeah,
a
Kane.
health issue. We had the lady in Texas, what, last year or 2024, where she had just like full on died, I think, or something, or been in a nursing home the whole time.
She'd been in a nursing home. Yeah, her family had put her in a memory care facility and didn't tell anybody.
Hmm.
Like, she's elected, right? Like, has a job, supposed to be there.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
interesting
This is
to
why
see.
don't vote for anybody older than me. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
the
sorry, but the
rule.
gerontocracy at this point, like, they're barely hanging on.
Yeah, I don't think they're geriatric anymore. I think they're older.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's past geriatric. Is it like dusty? What are we talking about here? I mean, and no, in
uh,
in all honesty, like, no offense to no offense to anybody. I'm not trying to be ageist, but at the same time, like, there comes a point when the games, like,
learn to build a bench, learn to pass the buck,
yeah, to
learn to
me,
pass the power.
the game is not worth what you're putting these people through. Like, I don't think it's right to put these people through that. They should be able to retire and enjoy their retirement. They should be
Right.
able to
Everybody
retire in
should.
peace, and they shouldn't be subject to political games, trotting out, keeping them on life support or whatever they happen to be doing to try and maintain whatever majority.
Hmm.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's going to be so interesting to see what happens with Mitch McConnell.
Right. Well, it is going to be interesting, but the whole getting older thing, you just reminded me of something that Alani brought up. She was talking to a constituent here in Helena, or right outside of town. They have a house on Hauser Lake that her grandfather built in the early 1900s. And she's in her 70s, I guess. And she's getting priced out of the home by taxes because she bought the home when she was considerably younger. And now the value has shot up. It's now valued at $1.5 million. And I bring this up because property taxes are done based on the expected valuation of the property. And that means it's unrealized gains because you didn't get anything new. You just had this property appreciate in value. You're getting taxed on that, even if you didn't get any money. And I would like to point out that is why when I hear people bitch about putting a 2% tax on unrealized gains for stock market holdings that are above $100 million, yeah, it would force you to sell some of your stock. Oh, boo hoo, sad. At least you're not selling your lakefront home that's been in your family for 4 generations. So
Yeah, it's
maybe,
interesting. Like
maybe, just
I
maybe you should do that. In fact, I
I
think you
have
should
all kinds
reverse it
of
and make unrealized gains on stock first and unrealized gains on property if you're over the age of, or let's just do it this way. If you're on Social Security, the value of your property is frozen,
yeah.
like
I could
until
get
you
down with
sell
that.
it.
I think that's totally right. But I also think that, it happens to be that we have to have a corporate tax, right? Because when we look at these
Hmm.
folks, the wealthiest people that are holding the vast majority of the money, the I don't know what, eight of them or whatever, they do not claim their money. They don't take an income. They do 0% loans against their stock, and I think that that should be taxed. I think that if you do that, you should be
Absolutely.
taxed for the value of the loan, and
I think
and the
if you
value of the loan
use
should be
it as a
considered your income.
resource, if you use it as a resource you can get a loan against, it's a taxed resource. The minute you use it
Mhm.
as collateral for a loan, it's a tax resource. Why? Because everything
Yep.
else you have that could be a collateral for a loan is a tax resource.
Yeah, and
So
I mean,
yeah,
I would be happy
thousand
restricting
percent.
that to, above 100 million or whatever. I'm
I'm not
fine with
even. I'm
that.
nope, no, fuck that. Here's the thing: all these people that are like, "Oh, we have to be nice to the little investor." Why? The stock market is never nice to the little investor. It is a risk for all of us. It is not a risk for these large institutional investors because they're so big that when they get into a bind, the government comes in and goes, "Oh, we'll fix it for you." And guess who gets screwed
Yeah,
in that? You want to raise your hand because
yeah,
it's us.
yeah, yeah.
So I have a
Agreed.
massive problem with some of the way the bailouts are structured, the way that the taxation is structured, and the whole. Oh well, if we tax them, they won't invest. Where the fuck else are they going to put their money? They're going to invest in property because we tax property. They're going to invest in cars because we tax those.
Yeah.
Where are they going to put their money? If they want to make money from money, they're going to invest, and it should be taxed. Point
Mm-hmm.
blank.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We get taxed as soon as we have to take that money out of the stock market because somebody's fucked with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And I need to now take all of my investments out of Apple to buy a tank of gas. So I'm going to get taxed on that. You should be taxed on the rest of it. A dollar's a
Yeah.
dollar, a vote's a vote. Get it together.
Well, especially when you consider how much money those guys are spending in the elections anyway. If you
Exactly.
are going to take out loans to spend over $1 billion in 2024 in the election, then yes, you should have to pay taxes on those loans. That's what I
Well,
think.
I was talking with my mom, great conservative, love her.
Hmm.
And we were talking about all of the flyers that go out from PACs. And we think there should actually be a flyer tax during political season. If a flyer is paid for by a political action committee, wherever it's delivered to, the same amount of money that was spent to deliver, which is 19-20 cents, not a ton, but they send out millions of them,
Hmm.
goes to the local school district as well.
Well, I like that.
Straight up. You want to
Yeah.
spend in our elections, that's fine, but you're gonna also pay for brand new fucking school. You dick.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Because
might actually make them more effective, to be honest with you, because most of the people I know, those flyers just hit the garbage before they don't even go inside the house.
right, but if they
They
could
hit the
turn around
garbage
and
in the
take it to the
mailbox.
school and go, "Hey, I'm gonna bring this to you because I know it's money for the school," and the school is
Yeah.
able to go, "Well, here's where you delivered it to in our area. You now owe us $200,000." Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they'd
Yeah.
probably pay it. They're billionaires. They're not gonna fucking miss it.
What do they care about
Ah,
$200,000? Yeah.
exactly. One of the things that I did want to bring up is I've this happens about every 5 years. We get the people that are anti the alphabet soup. It's LGBT, and then it's LGBTQ, and then it's LGBTQIA, and then it's LGBTQIA2IS plus, and blah 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on and on. And
Mhm.
it always cracks me up because it's generally a white male who starts bitching like, "We don't need the whole alphabet. That's not how language works." Blah 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 blah. Okay,
Who
people, whatever.
cares? Yeah.
Um, my whole thing is it's unwieldy, and also you have to remember what it is, which I find to be really obnoxious and it's far harder than it needs to be. Um, I like the umbrella terms queer and gay. Like I realize gay kind of gets attached to male, but whatever. but queer, and there are a bunch of people that are like, well, queer is used as a slur. Lesbian was used as a slur. Trans was
Hmm.
used as literally the whole fucking alphabet has been used as a slur. So I do not accept that as an argument because I'm like, really?
Hmm. Hmm.
Look at the other words. Um, so I just always look at those people. I'm like, then pick the term that you want to use, queer or gay or whatever, and just go with it. I do love there is a creator on TikTok that I follow, Des the Les, and she talks about her mother not knowing, it's coming up on that month for your people. I do a terrible accent. And she's the Los GBDs,
Ah, got
LGBTQIA.
it. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
I'm
like
like,
when they used to say, what
how
is it, Lebitiqua?
Libitiqua, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Use one of those. I don't care. I don't care. But don't get upset that people in the community are starting to get it. And one of my friends who's posted on it, he's like, I don't know what I have in common with somebody who's asexual. And I was like, I prefer the more modern shagnostic. And
That's cute. I like that.
and I'm like, what do you have in common? You actually have a lot in common with them because you're both persecuted for completely different parts of the things that you do. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop worrying about what you have in common with them and just understand that they are part of a community that gets targeted. So we're going to stand together because the
Yeah.
bigger we are, the more of us that stand together, the better off we are. So,
Yeah.
oh, how did you get to see any of Pride this weekend in Missoula?
I did. So in my job, I get to see a lot of celebrations, and of course, Pride happens on Main Street every year. And I've never seen anybody leave Pride in a bad mood. Like, I absolutely love it. This year, oh my God, it was so great. So I was about 3 blocks away, and all I could hear was the audience just absolutely going berserk singing I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. And it
Mm-hmm.
was so loud. I was just singing with them. I was like, I want to dance with somebody. Having a great
Nice,
time. It was fantastic. I was like, oh, I wish I could be there. That sounds like so much fun, even from this far away. And
nice.
it's fantastic. I absolutely love that. I have friends who opted not to go to the festival in order to just stay at Pride because it's that much fun.
Nice. What
Yeah,
festival?
$180 ticket for a day, and they're like, nah, I'll just sell it. I'll just
Oh,
sell it
with
because
the
I'd
chicks,
rather
the
stay at
music
Pride.
festival that was going on. Okay.
Yeah, the Zootown Music Festival. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's
so
so
I was
much that
like,
happens at the same time in Missoula. I'm like, y'all know there are other weekends, right?
right. Yeah, this was a really busy weekend, but it was absolutely packed as always. I love that everybody dresses up, and it just is such a great vibe. Such a great vibe every time.
Yeah. Well, it was also Pride in Billings,
Hmm.
and the Montana Democratic Party blanket platform obviously was happening, and we decided to all go out and march in the parade. And that is something where it's like, hey, Democrats were going to go march in the parade, and almost everybody did. We pretty much doubled the size of the parade. I took all of our because I run Montana Pride, so I have access to some stuff, a little bit
Yeah.
of swag. But we took
Yeah.
all of our giant flags. So we have the original giant flag, we have the progressive giant flag, we have the trans flag.
Uh-huh.
And if anybody is wondering how many flags there are in the queer community, we're autistic. All the fucking flags are in the queer
I know, like
community.
every flag you can imagine. And if you think of something that's not a flag, submit it.
It'll
We'll
be there
accept it.
soon.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
We so we put all of that together. So everybody, so it was the Democrats holding the queer flags, and so it was the Democrats around surrounding the queer iconography. And it's very much it was a really good look. It was really
That's
cool.
powerful.
So very excited about that. We had a great time. And for those who have missed Prides in Montana because we were busy the first 3 weeks in June, we still have Anaconda, Butte,
Mhm.
Libby, Great Falls, I think. Uh, yeah, Great Falls is this week. Anaconda and Butte are the this weekend as well. Libby is in mid-July, July 18th. And then I think there's two others, and then Montana Pride. And Montana Pride is
Nice.
August 2nd through 8th here in Helena, and we're super excited. We will have all the details up on the site about that soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been summer gets really busy in weird ways that aren't really political, and they're totally political at the same time. So
Hmm.
I was just
Hmm.
tired, man. I'm glad we got through Plank a
Yeah.
Platform. I think we did a really good job. It is really long. I mean, when we went in, the plank was already 38 pages long. We added an entire new, or the platform was 38 pages long. We added an entire new plank with transportation, which is
Yeah.
3 pages on its own. So I know we're up to like at least 41. We're probably
Yeah.
looking at 50, 55 pages once it's done. But I gave my speech on Saturday and I was or on Sunday and I was talking about it. The whole point of a plank is not an endpoint. It is not these are the things that we are. It's these are the things that we are and how we're going to do them. It is a launching point. It is how we go forward together as a group. Because the whole Democratic Party is pretty diverse and it's going to continue to be diverse, which means we're going to have different thinking and different ideas and different attitudes. And we have to come together because otherwise we don't have enough power to win. But when we come together and we do it smart, like we did this weekend, I think we end up with a lot of really, really, really good people working together. So I'm excited for where we can go, but also I'd like a nap.
Yeah. Coalition building is exhausting, but it's so, so important. And it's honestly, it's the only way we're going to win. We have to coalition build on every level. And I think it is so important not to undermine that even when people have squabbles, that's okay.
Mhm.
The point is afterwards, how do we proceed? Right?
Right.
We have to be able to find, it's like a family. We might get in a fight, but we've got to sit at the dinner table the next night together. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
And hammer stuff out.
Yeah, and it's just smarter to do it that way. There's so many amazing things that can be done because you don't know how something is going to affect all parts of the community at large because you aren't part of all parts of the community at large.
Mhm.
And when you have these broad coalitions of people and they're all their different perspectives and you get them together, it's a little spiky for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden it becomes oh, here's common ground. Here's where we can be,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that makes us far more dangerous to the opposition because you know there's nothing like getting a bunch of creative people together and hashing out how we're going to make things better for people. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing what's coming up, but also I'm tired.
Yeah.
So
All right.
what are
Well,
we
why
going
don't
to
we call
discuss
it
next
on
week?
that note?
What's going on next
Um,
week? Do we know?
I do not have anything in specific to think of at the moment. I'm sure something will come up over the weekend, but I will get in touch with you and we can talk about maybe some recurring segments and some fun stuff, maybe some interactive stuff. Like,
Cool,
let's talk about it. Yeah,
cool. That'd be great. And also, if you can think of somebody that you'd like to have on the show, let me know, and we'll get them on because that would be cool too to get some people in
fantastic.
here.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
yeah, well,
Awesome.
cool. On that note, I think we'll call it, and I will see you next week.
See ya. Have a good one, guys.